All right. Welcome. Welcome to the Schizoid Angst live stream. And I'm here. Old Schizoid Angst. So, six of you here already. For some reason, OBS decided not to show me chat and stuff, so I have to look at the studio itself. I don't know why, it just like spazzed out or something, and I didn't want to restart OBS in the stream just to fix it. So I'm looking at it on the thing, so I can still see your chat. Just a little bit more of a pain in the ass than I'd like it to be. Hi, Trudy. It's been a while. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're still painting. Good stuff. I always liked your work. In any case, welcome. A few things at the beginning that I guess I should say, or I'm supposed to. So, if you end up liking the stream, like, subscribe, all that stuff. If you end up hating the stream, comment and throw all the hate you want at me. If you watch this as a VOD, comment. I honestly, like, if you don't like or subscribe, I'd be more interested if you just comment. Comments are more engaging and interesting. I know it's not like the most algorithm focused thing, but still, sometimes you guys have some pretty cool insight into stuff, or you have your own lived experience about certain things as a schizoid or something like that. And just reading those things are pretty handy. Get more fresh perspectives from different generations, younger people or older people than myself. Though, as I get older people start going down, right? 40 now. Quick updates, because that's what I do at the beginning. I just get all the boring stuff regarding myself out of the way, like about daily shit. Vyvanse. The Vyvanse is still working actually extremely well for some ADHD stuff, but mainly for one of the symptoms, which is like just perpetual sleepiness in the morning when I'm working, and I do like remote work, so like I'll be doing a lot of computer work, and I get really, really sleepy, especially if the task is monotonous. I like intrusively fall asleep, but the doesn't matter how much actual sleep I got the night before. But Vyvanse is actually, it's keeping me awake, so I can do that. It's actually making me feel a little calmer, which that's I'm not saying it's a total sign. I'm not a doctor, but if you take like Adderall or Vyvanse, if you take a stimulant and all it does is kind of help you focus and chill out, it actually like calms you almost, because you have more control of your own thoughts and stuff. You probably have ADHD. That's probably like the sure sign. If you take Adderall like a normal standard dosage, and it like makes you go zoomies, and like you're like people in college that take it that aren't ADHD, but they take it just study, like, and do crazy things like that. I've known a few people. They're like, oh my god, I was like up for 2 days. I got my entire 20-page paper done and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, they probably don't have it. Usually it doesn't affect ADHD people like that. It has like almost a calming, like help you focus type effect. So just kind of goes to show how like rewired and different the brain tends to be in ADHD people, especially when it comes to that. So if you ever took like an Adderall or a Vyvanse or something because of for studying or whatever, because like your buddy in college said, oh man, it's like a limitless pill or something, and you took it and you're like, nothing really happened, but maybe you noticed that you got a little chill, and it was fine. Like maybe just look into possibility of ADHD. Yes, currently painting a flower phoenix similar to fiery, but blooming, not blazing. Oh, that's cool. That's cool, Trudy. So yeah, it's working pretty decent for me. Still taking the Wellbutrin and the Prozac. That's keeping me even keeled for the most part. And that's it. I think nothing else crazy going on. I guess unrelated to what I'm going to talk about on stream, I got pretty annoyed watching a Asmongold like video, Asmongold TV. I don't really watch the live stream. I don't watch live streams very much, but the people that do stream that I do enjoy listening to, I just watch the VODs. usually on YouTube, or the big chunks of the most interesting portions. It cuts out all the, the boring yap. And yeah, I was watching a recent one on Asmongold TV where I thought it was just going to be like shitting on. He was looking at a video essay that was shitting on like Jack Black or whatever, and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. But I ended up just hearing one of the worst possible takes, like on autism and ABA therapy I've ever heard. But that's one of the things with that gentleman, is that he won't know about something, and then he'll just like rely on like chat to either verify his like gut take, or if they go against it, then he'll dig in further usually, and he'll do some cursory research. But I guess in this case, chat was like, yeah, ABA therapy's good or something, and so then he was just like, yeah, and then his dad called. He's like his older dad called, and he's like an old, grandpa dude, and he's just like saying like, oh no, it's proven, it's amazing. And I was just like, oh man, that's and that was enough for Aspen just to be like, oh yeah, oh okay, see, I was right, it's good. I'm like, why are people mad at Jack Black that he supports Autism Speaks? It's like, But yeah, that's not the topic of today, but it's that's a whole mess. If you're ever on my server and you want me to link you to a decent little piece of research regarding why it's not so good, there's a pretty good one out there. There's a couple good ones. But it's a more modern take on ABA therapy. It used to be like the gold standard, which is like, kind of terrible. And unfortunately, a lot of times autism is conflated with other like mental disorders or mental differences or whatever. So like they'll pack in so much when it comes to autism. It'll be like, oh, you're autistic. Like this guy over here that can't like read and like screams a lot and is nonverbal or something besides the screaming, that's autism. And then this guy over here that can speak just fine, but he has like he stims, and he says some like stuff kind of that seem non sequiturs, and he's like really socially like awkward and anxious, and he's disinterested in this stuff and that stuff, and he just kind of has this kind of autistic thinking. That guy's autistic too. It's like, okay, so it's just all autism? No, it's not. They just keep calling it that. They keep calling it all autism. And so then, yeah, something like ABA basically like helps some of the maybe people that have other learning disabilities that aren't necessarily related to autism, and then and so then like that, that gets the money going, and then some of the people that go there end up with like PTSD, especially the ones that are like intellectually sound of mind but just have other types of issues, sensory stuff and other things. And they don't have like extreme learning disabilities, and they those are the people that get pretty fucked over by it. So anyway, what I wanted to talk about today, the actual topic of the day, was as follows. Where is it? Let me find it first, foremost. Okay, so the question I asked for this week on Wednesday. Remember, if you don't know this, if you're part of the Zoid Void, if you already went through the vetting process and you got in to the schizoid, portions of the Zoid Void, the application, do the application basically. I'll at schizoid like once a week. Sorry, if you don't want the pings, just like, I don't know, mute the channel or something. And which, I'm not gonna get sad. Don't worry. I'll at schizoid like on Wednesdays a question, and then people can submit it on this channel called Dear Angst, and that's me, and like Dear Abby, that kind of shit. And so they could submit the answers to the question, and I don't read the usernames. I don't do anything with it. I just read what the content. I try not to even look at what the username is once I start reading. I don't try not to pay attention at all. I don't know. It's weird. But in any case, that's how I handled that. This week I forgot to add it to the questions section. I was going to start doing. I did that last time. Kind of messed me up. Messed up on that one. Okay. Anyway, enough boring stuff. This was the question that I asked the schizoids on the server. How often do you plan, daydream about, fantasize, take superficial actions toward goals that or convictions? Man, I'm so bad at writing. That or convictions you want to put into action that ultimately fall flat because you either lose motivation or are satisfied with just learning about it and not doing it. Okay. So that's kind of what I wanted to like figure out, because one of the I guess the negative symptoms associated with schizoid personality disorder is this like prevailing avolition. There's the anhedonia, but there's also the avolition where you have volition to do stuff. Like you get like these little episodes where like you're like, that sounds like a cool idea. I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna do it, right? Like maybe you'll just have a little spark, a tiny spark, and then you get to do it. You start doing it or thinking about it. You just think about it a lot. Maybe you maybe watch stuff on it and so on and so forth. And you almost prepare to do the thing. And you prepare a lot, like up in here internally, like in your internal world. You prepare for this like thing you're gonna do, and then when it comes down to doing it, sometimes you'll get started and then kind of give up halfway. Sometimes you just don't start at all. And I was just curious as to why that may be. Like, what's your experience as to why that is? Because one of the ideas about why people just do this in general is because they find some kind of dopamine or satisfaction from just preparing for something, and then they feel like their brain feels like, yeah, I did something, and so then they just kind of forego doing the actual thing that requires more effort or work. So that's like probably the more common reason people don't like. They keep saying they're going to do stuff like what is it, like changing your diet or getting started on something major, and then you just do a bunch of research and then you just don't get to it, right? But I'm wondering with schizoids how that plays in, if it does in your experience, or if it's something else, right? That stops you from completing whatever it is you set out to do, or at least thought you wanted to do. Is it just a straight pessimism or cynicism, or other people, or pessimism regarding others, or the activity itself? Do you sabotage the activity internally because like you find something associated with it that doesn't run incongruent with what you thought it was or wanted, and so then you throw the whole baby out with the bathwater? Like I'm curious as to like why that seems to be the case, right? Or is it just literally like a chemical feeling of just I often wonder if it's like you get started on something, you're kind of like, okay, I'm doing this, and then you get started and you start doing it, maybe a day, maybe two, maybe less, and then something happens, the anhedonia kind of gets triggered, and then you go back to like trying to work on that thing you said you were going to do, and then it brings you no pleasure. It brings you like nothing. You just feel empty, and so then you just think, oh, it's the activity. The activity, I was wrong. This activity does nothing for me. Never mind. Nothing works. And then you just give up. And you never go back to it because you associate it now with this kind of disappointment and anger in the fact that like you thought it was going to do something and then did nothing. When in fact nothing could have probably done nothing during that moment. But not necessarily, it didn't necessarily have to do with the activity or goal or whatever it is itself. So that's why I asked that question. I wanted to know, like, where's it coming from? Like, where is this avolition stemming from? Anyways, let me see here. Well, I just figured out why the chat and the control panel aren't working on OBS and why I have to look at it on a browser. It's because there's a box that popped up that I didn't notice. It says that OBS crashed. So I'm just gonna go ahead and ignore that, because if I click on anything, it'll probably just take down the whole stream. So I'm just gonna let that chill. That's funny. Anyway, so I got a few submissions. By the way, for those of you that just like weird ambient music, remember, if you type in something like, or just, you know, kind of like ambient genres, like, you know, you like dungeon synth or dreamcore, weirdcore, you know, stuff like that. Always, like, don't just type like weirdcore music or album. If you do that, you're just gonna get like the same goddamn playlists. Oh, they're good songs, but like it's just the same songs over and over. What you want to do is you want to type it in. You put like weirdcore or dreamcore or dungeon synth album or something, and then you do you filter to like most recent upload dates, and then you'll get like super small channels with like full albums that, you know, they're working on or did, you know, and the channel has like 400 subs or something, or like 200 subs, and then you listen to the album and you're like, wow, this shit's lit, like this is some good shit. And often leave a comment like, man, good luck, this is solid stuff. It's like it's criminal that it'll just get like just float in space, because it's like sometimes it's even better than what, you know, is on those playlists. Often it is. So a lot of those playlist songs are played the fuck out. All right, let's get into the answers and stuff. Let me actually, I'm gonna. Oh, I see. Magenta's in here. Hey, Magenta, if you want to chime in at any point, you're more than welcome to. By the way, just want to throw that out there. Let me see here. Okay. Let's go. Where is it? And remember, I don't look at what the contents of these submissions until the day I read them. I usually look to see if there's any submissions, but I don't read the content. So if I see like you know, I'll see like at least 5 or something, I'll be like, all right, I guess that's enough. This time is only a handful, but hey, it's all right. I'll take it. I'll take what I can get. Okay, here we go. First one, regarding why, basically, what type of stuff and why, if you have experiences of avolition. You start shit and then you stop doing it. And I already explained my thoughts on it, so I'll just get to it. Dear Angst, not sure if this counts, but my answer is romantic relationships. The idea of finding a life partner sounds nice, but I'm usually bored or annoyed by someone after about 2 or 3 dates. Fair. I wonder, like, what constitute as boredom on those dates, right? Like that's the question, like, that I find most, I would want to follow up of, is like, okay, what was boring about the date? Was it the date itself? Was it the way the person talks? Was it the way the person approaches communication? Is it because you try to communicate something and they don't really respond in kind, or there's no like stimulating conversation occurring according to your own standards? Like, what makes it boring? Is it just not exciting enough? Like, was the person too unexciting, or were they too exciting or too excited, too enthused, and that causes like frustration and boredom? So I'm curious, like, what they meant by being bored after 2 or 3 dates. But I see how that would kind of tie into like being maybe excited about, like, okay, I'm going on a date, it's a thing I'm doing, and then you go on it and you go on like a second one, and then you're like, yeah, I'm done with this. This is like, I'm not getting anything out of this. Like, this is just no. So that's what I'm curious. Were they bad dates, or is it something else? Something else that's occurring there. That's why if you guys ever submit stuff, give me as much detail. Give me a wall of text. I don't care. I'll read it. You know, time allows, I will read it and think about it. That's what I do. Okay. Next up. Let's see here. Next up. All right. Dear Angst, I'll hype myself up like, this is it. I'm finally going to turn my life around and be the person I always wanted to be. Oh, I feel you on that one. I did that so many times, especially in my 20s. I would do this thing, it was like a ritual almost, where I would come up with like some kind of like, I would think, okay, no, tomorrow I'm going to just like sit down and I'm going to read all these books on this subject in particular, and I'm going to know everything about it. And then I'm going to go to college and I'm going to I'm going to do this, and I'm going to, write this book, and all this stuff's going to happen, and then the morning comes and it just doesn't happen. Like there's just the oppressive weight of just existence will oftentimes just almost make you forget, or just go like, maybe tomorrow. Never happens. No, I'll do it. It's just not today, and then nothing. So, by the way, yeah, I could already see where this is going. Anyway, I'm gonna be the person I always wanted to be, and then 5 minutes later, I'm on the couch with a bag of chips, scrolling YouTube like I didn't spend 2 hours researching productivity hacks. There you go. There you go. And also regarding that, it's like even the times when I decided, okay, this is my new thing. This has got to work. This has got to make me feel stuff, right? Make you more connected to the world or something, or enjoy life a little bit, like other people seem to. And then like I'll go balls out on something, and then like just realize like within a day or two, I'm like, this is not what I wanted. I am not happy doing this. This is terrible. This was a mistake. This was a mistake. Like I remember in my 20s, I would probably be like, okay, I'm gonna like, or like mid 20s, because that's when I tried to become less misanthropic, but I did it in the worst way possible, which is like, okay, just give people a chance, just go out and hang out with them, like maybe that's what I gotta do. Like there's good, there's people, and I'll connect to them, right? Because that's what people do. They talk and then they connect, and maybe there's something wrong with my brain, but I'll figure it out. And then like I would attempt it, and it's just like, oh god, no, why? Like, and then people would like become not because they would be mean to me, but because like I would behave and mask, and then they would like want to be my friend, or thought I was cool, but they thought like the mask was cool, and then I'm like, no, this is not working. Like, or I try to like integrate the mask into like, no, this is really me, right? This is me. This is the person I'm supposed to be, but like something in my brain is making it so I can't be, right? And yeah, it's a mess. Let me see here. Oh yeah, it's a whole production. I'll buy the tools, make the lists, even set alarms like some kind of responsible adult. But then when it comes time to actually do the thing, my brain is like, or hear me out. What if we didn't? And for some reason, that argument always wins. The cherry on top, I'll feel all accomplished just because I thought about it. Like, wow, I am so proactive when I haven't done shit. Yep, not the first time I've heard that story. Um, Not the first time. But thank you for the submission here. Another one. This one is literally 3 words. Dear Angst, weekly or monthly? Okay, so basically this avolition, this getting started on something and then just kind of it tanking, is something they do weekly or monthly. Let's see here. In chat, we got Jay-Z says, I give up civil life. Active research. People take one look at me and say, look, run, a big, stupid, smelly ogre. They judge me before they even get to know me. Yeah, well, that's unfortunately what people like to be like often. So, I mean, like, I doubt you're walking. I mean, unless you're like literally walking around like in like a wife beater and like there's stains all over it, and like you smell like actually smell, and like you're like drooling or something. Like I doubt that's what you're doing in real life, but then they might have an argument. But I'm just wondering why you chose big, stupid, smelly ogre. Like, is it just because you're tall and like imposing, and then like, and you have like a somber face, and so people think like you're mean or something, or you're gonna be mean? I don't know. That's interesting. Just the way you put it was interesting. Okay. I have a better idea now. Haha. Wonder what that idea is. All right. Next up here. Dear Angst, I do that a lot. I've been getting better at first steps and then not dropping the activity later. I can see more clearly what's been getting in my way. It's not a lack of motivation. Call it whatever you want, inner critic, childhood trauma, or sadistic objects. But I've got a handle on those shits now, and I'm slowly winning these battles. Good. Good. Win those battles. That's great to hear. Especially if they're battles you ultimately do want to win, and they're not like the wrong battles, because I know that experience. Fighting really hard for battles that I shouldn't be fighting, because they were like illusions to begin with. It wasn't like anything but a desperate clinging to something that wasn't me, because I didn't know what me was. Let's see here. Active. I bathe in green nature goo, and I'm 7 feet tall and green. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. There you go. You're just like a really tall Shrek. Sick. You should start like singing Rockstar. And like really loud at people. Alright, let me see here. Next up. Ooh, see? This is the last one. This is what I mean. Like, I only got like 5. Some more are short. I would love to have like 10. So remember, if you can, don't ever feel like, oh well, you know, my experience is invalid, or nobody cares, or a lot of other people already put in stuff that like is better or more relevant, and like, you know, don't put your experiences like as if they're not worth typing. Just put them down, send them. I want to hear these schizoid experiences. I need to. It's not even a want, it's a need because of the work I'm trying to do, what I'm attempting. So please, that kind of stuff really helps. In any case, last one here, but it's a nice and long one, so let's see. Dear Angst, hi. I just wanted to share my personal experience of Avolition. Perfect. They should all start that way. I'm kidding. I'm not sure if it's worth expressing. There it is. There it is. It's worth expressing. It is worth expressing. Look, it might not be worth expressing in a lot of places, and I understand why you would feel that way. But here, with this idiot, it's worth expressing. I'll engage with it. I'll talk about it. If I disagree, I'll disagree on some aspect. If I agree, I'll agree. If I think there's a, you know, I'll just give my opinion, right? My subjective opinion. If you really hate anyone giving you a subjective opinion on whatever it is you put out there, I don't know, you could just start the submission with, I don't want to hear your opinion on what I'm about to say. So then I'll just read it, and then I just won't say anything. I don't care. That works for me. Okay. Where was I again? Okay, there we go. But I am trying to put my experiences into words for once. Very awesome. Avolition, in my case, is characterized by the feeling of profound externalized force invading my consciousness. It feels as though this heavy, dark force expands within my mind. Yet it is distinct from my sense of self. At times, it almost feels like an external entity constricting my capacity for thought and action. In order to manage or reduce its oppressive presence, I find myself engaging in extreme actions such as intense physical exercise or prolonged fasting. These actions provide temporary relief, but the force inevitably regrows if I do not actively combat it, leading to the same sense of perpetual struggle. Very well put stuff. Very well put. Nice language, too. Very nice. At times, the sensation is so overwhelming that I wonder if it could be attributed to a demonic or malevolent force. I used to feel that, like, when I was much younger. Like, it felt like something was like, I was cursed or something, right? But then again, I was kind of prone to some of that magical thinking, referential thinking, because I'm more on the schizo side of stuff, and I didn't really have quite a great handle on that in my youth. That came later. I learned the ways. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. As it seems to function as something external that exerts control over my mental and physical state. The fatigue induces is profound, leaving me with little energy for anything other than attempting to resist its influence. My activities become centered almost exclusively on this battle, leaving me too drained to pursue other goals or engage with the world meaningfully. I understand what that means. Like the way you're conceptualizing it and stuff. Like like there's some external force doing it. I think I understand what that kind of means. I don't think it's an external force, obviously, but it's like it's like your brain combating itself. Because there's parts of you that are, and I talked about this before. Like there's this inner child stuff, this buried inner child, buried under scars and calluses and rocks and defenses, and what it took to basically disassociate you from a lot of your sense of self and feelings, left you kind of feeling like you do. And that part in there somewhere is like conflicting with the person that you've become because of these, like, a lot of these adaptations that you use to just get through life, and the issues you had with oftentimes existing, and so growing up at least. And so yeah, like it it feels like some part of you sometimes gets a little charge, right? Like you're like, you know, like I joke that like when a schizoid will get like kind of like energy or like a sense of like, oh, you know what, I think I really want to do this, and they get into it, right? Uh, what makes me laugh is, sorry, so sometimes my little one comes in to say goodnight, so I don't know when she's gonna come in. Um, I've had people tell me, they're like, "Is this mania?" I'm like, "No, this is not mania. This is just like you're excited about something." Like, "Are you prone to mania?" They're like, "No, I've never experienced this," and I'm like, "No, this is just excitement about something." Oh, here she is. One sec. There we go. Ooh, music stopped. Wait a minute, let's get some more fun times going here, music wise. Oh, this one's actually pretty good. Click on this one. I like this one. Another one's like, there's a small channel called Liminal Ghosts. It's got like less than 500 subs on YouTube, and he's got some cool stuff in there. Anyway, um, as I was saying, getting back or attempting to get back into it. When I derail, I usually have a tough time, so please forgive me. Oh yeah, there we go. I remember now. It was the whole externalizing bit, right? It's it's that whole yeah, like feeling like an oppressive outside entity or something. Yeah, so I feel like a lot of the times that something sparks the inner child, and then you get excited. You get kind of like, oh, maybe I should try this. That could be helpful. Like, maybe this is what I need. I should let me look it up. Let me think about it. Let me, you know. And internally, it seems like, okay, okay, okay. But then, when it comes to like the action itself and what it requires, especially if it involves dealing with people, those defenses and a lot of that stuff starts flaring up, and then it feels like like something's taking away your little spark you got. You know, you got a little spark, and something's just taking it away from you. Like, and you're desperately trying to like cling onto it, and you're like, no, 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 no. Like, why? I just a second. I know yesterday it was cool, like when I was doing it, but now it's not. Now it's doesn't. It's no. What's happening? Stop. And so then obviously like it's like you're struggling. You're like, and that struggle can sometimes cause its own kind of damage, because you might do this thing where you're like, no, I have to, and then you make yourself do the thing you said you were gonna do for a while, and then you burn out, or it's just like you just start resenting the thing, because you're like, no, this thing, I know it did something. Why isn't it doing anything? Um, and stuff like that. Like, I've talked to people that were like, say, musicians, right? And so then, like, they know how to play like a guitar or the piano or something, right? And they're zoids, and they just learn how at some point in life, and then sometimes it'll be like, oh yeah, I haven't touched the thing in like 3 years or something. And if you ask, like, well, why? Like, I thought you enjoyed it. It's like, no, well, eventually it didn't do anything for me. It just didn't, just, I don't know, just went away, right? That's how they'll kind of describe it. And what I often think is occurring there is they had some like pretty ass and anhedonia episode, and then they went back to the thing that they normally gave them some comfort, maybe some kind of, maybe it did give some solace, and then because of that anhedonia, it's just like the thing stops working, and then, like I said before, they start thinking it's the thing. And so instead of like, say, going, okay, I'm gonna drop this, come back to it a few months from now or whatever, sometimes it'll just be like, it's over, this doesn't work anymore. Like, I don't know why I was thinking it was gonna like last forever or something. Or they keep going at it and going at it and going, and then they like resenting the thing, because then they're getting no reward out of it, but they're like stubbornly trying to do it because this is what I do. Like, why isn't it working? And so then that can do that often too. And so, like, I wonder if some of these people that haven't touched, a pen or a favorite MMO, um, a musical instrument, whatever it is, that, like, for a while it worked. Like, I wonder if they're in a particularly okay mood, like, neutral, feeling all right, not particularly really depressed or anxious, just kind of neutral. And if they attempt to do it then, it might be different. Unless they've already, like, they feel it's like tainted or whatever, or they're already like they associate it too much with like that resentment or frustration with like how it went away. Then that might be tough to get over. But I don't think it's impossible. I really don't. Let's see here. What do you think about joining a foreign military with a different idiom? Sometimes I'm a bit childish. Um, I I don't know. Why? I don't think I would join a foreign military. Why would I do that? I wouldn't want to join any military for that matter. Like, unless it comes down to like defending, like, literally, like, my family, and something like that. Like, we're being invaded or some shit, and I'm gonna do sit at home. I didn't paint anything for 14 years, so a few months is just a thing. Yeah, there you go. Everything I do is fucking garbage, so I do nothing at this point of barely holding down a job. No lights, no music, just sit there. I have journals full of half-written stories, unfinished drawings, unfinished songs on guitar, YouTube channels I started but never uploaded to. All of it incomplete garbage. Yeah, well, it sounds like Avolition, right? That's that cool Avolition in action. And it's not just exclusive to Zoids, Schizoids. No. Different kinds of issues can cause this. Just depression, like a continuous, like a kind of perpetual clinical depression can do similar. Um, but as far as like that stuff, I mean, it's not garbage. It it's unfinished work. And I think one of the best things one can do is parse out what is worth finishing and what isn't, and then give it a shot when the right time hits, and stuff like that. Um, hey, active, you're in here like once in a while. I'm curious, like, do you yeah, I'm not like, do you have a what is it called? Like, do you have like really big ups and really big downs? Like, cause I noticed that like sometimes in chat you're like seem like pretty even keeled, and then other times just like you know what I mean? Like, so I'm wondering if that's just like something you recognize or um yeah. Sorry guys, it's just active research could be like, you know, pretty thoughtful and interesting, and then other times they're just like shit posting. So I wonder I wonder what that is. I'm just like legitimately curious. Or if like, you know, I don't know, maybe you're wasted or something. I have no idea. But anyway, if you could answer that, that'd be great. Um Let me see here. Oh, you're unstable? Oh, okay. I don't cope well. Yeah, that's why. That's what I mean, active. Like, some days you're just chill, like you're just engaging in the convo, kind of going back and forth. And that last time I had to ban you because she was just like, you know, really into somebody. I'm just like, you know, I was just like, what is this? Like, it was weird. It was just like this kind of, and then the other times, like you're chill, and then other times you're just like typing random shit in chat that like non sequiturs or like weird shit, and I'm like, or like you're getting like aggressive, and I'm like, huh? I'm like, what is that? Where was the active research from last stream? Like, where'd he go? But yeah. All right, we evolutioning. Yeah, we're evolutioning. I'm evolutioning everywhere. That's why I leave people alone. Oh, that shouldn't be a reason. I'm also unstable, but it should definitely be something to look into, active. Because, like, I don't know. Like, maybe there's some. I'm not a doctor, so I can't some of them. Maybe some kind of like bipolar. Uh, you know, if you got some schizo stuff going on, schizo affected kind of stuff. So yeah, just saying. Like, and it's funny too because there was another guy that I think I forgot his name. I'm really bad. I think it was like he was like in chat. He was thinking his name was Hinsog or something. And then like yeah, they would have like times where like they were like really chill, and then other times where they were like really not chill. And I was just like, huh. Like, yeah, it must be something like some kind of mood instability or something. But even when like the like that happens, I wonder why. Even it's not just the mood that changes. It's even like the way the person communicates and the way they like engage with what's being said to them or to just everyone. And yeah, they'll they'll find like an enemy for that minute and then just kind of like get mad at it or something. So yeah, but I remember that person, they had done it, and then like I was just like, it's fine. They're probably just having some thing going on. Like I don't know what's going on. And then like in another stream, they were like really apologetic, and I was like, that's fine. Like it's fine. Like I wasn't hurt by it. It's fine. And yeah, I've seen that kind of stuff happen. So that's just interesting to me how that works. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, other thoughts, I guess. Unless you guys want to chime in on this subject of evolution, which you're welcome to in chat, or if anybody wants to jump on the stream and talk or something, you're also welcome to do that. Um, except for Withers. Withers is just gonna say something stupid. I'm just kidding, Withers. Nah. Um, but yeah, either one of you guys, uh, you're more than welcome to talk about the subject. But I know for you terminally online folks, one of the, I guess, things that I would say will do evolution wise is just like have like I don't do this one because of just other reasons, but like I know a lot of Zoids that have like a million tabs open, and like all these tabs open, like it's slowing down their computer and shit, and they're like they have all these tabs open because like it's a bunch of stuff they meant to get back to. It's like they hoard like maybes. They hoard like maybes, and I'll get back to them someday. I'll like kind of hoard those. I've done that. Like I'm guilty of that for sure. Like I have like I have like folders on my computer, like full of like and not just like on the subjects that I do here, but like full of like research papers. Like I have like FOIA requests downloaded. I have like all this shit downloaded. Um, and I have all this stuff downloaded, and like I'll occasionally like get a hair at my ass and I'll like go into it for a while, but like most of it's just left there. It's just sitting there on my computer. Sometimes on my desktop. I don't do the tabs, but I do like collect PDFs that I know I'm going to get back to that PDF about this or that subject. Luckily for me, the ones I do get back to or read are the ones like related to like psychology or neurodivergence and stuff. Like I'll actually look at those because I know like, you know, but like other stuff is more like there's this website called the Black Vault. If you don't know about it, it's really fun. But it has like this guy, you know, he gets support donations or whatever, but he uses the money to do FOIA requests because sometimes they can be like pricier, um, depending on like how hard it is to get and a bunch of other elements. So he'll get them and then he'll like scan them and then like upload them to the website. It's pretty cool. So there's just like a ton on there, right? So I remember a long time ago, I was just like, oh, I got to download all of these. Like, what if one day, you know, it gets taken down? And so like I have like a bunch of like FOIA request stuff. A lot of them are just filled with like nothing. What's funny is a lot of them you can actually just go to like the CIA or the intelligence websites or FBI stuff, and like sometimes they'll have like piles. Just you could like literally scroll through them, piles of like PDFs essentially, of scans of like all kinds of files that got pulled out because they got declassified or something similar, and you can like download them. But be forewarned, like 85-90% of them are just like there's just nothing. There's just nothing burgers. It's just like nothing. It's just some kind of boring shit. Or they're just completely redacted. Like it's just a block of black boxes, and like you go down the page and you get random words and like stuff like that. But occasionally, like I used to dig through it, like sit there, just click and click and click and click it, and that's how I found some fun ones way back that I ended up like, you know, writing research papers when I was going to uni and stuff. So so yeah, that was a pretty fun one. Like I thought it was cool that like for example, like nowadays everyone's talking about like Project Stargate, and I was like, it's like man, like that shit's like I knew about that shit a long ass time ago, like a long ass time ago, and it was like not as popular or interesting. And I was just like, and I found like other documents associated with Project Stargate, but they were like in completely different sections. And so like I was like, oh, okay, this is connected to this. Oh, this is where the actual like receipts for shit that they, you know, bought for Project Stargate and stuff, and associated costs and stuff. And like that'd be in a completely different pile of documents or whatever. And so yeah, I remember like, and then people video essays and things started popping up, and I was like, wow, okay, look like you know. And then eventually I think it showed up on Black Vault. I think that's the right one. Yeah. But not, some of the ones I did find on there that are kind of just tangentially connected, those aren't really on Black Vault. If you're looking for that stuff, you have to literally dig through the declassified stuff. It's fun. It's just a fun hobby. Anyway. See here, Don. For me, avolition is basically a perpetual neutral state of void with a deeper state, like a tidal wave of depression, sometimes for no reason, sometimes a reaction to engagement, even positive. Yeah, yeah. The positive, you know, the one that kills me the most is when it's positive. And it's that feeling of like you trying to do something and then you accomplish it. Like you take a step and you accomplish it, and then you're like, you like, I don't. It's not intentional, but like you kind of hype it up in your mind. That's gonna like, it's gonna like feel a certain way, and then you do it, and you're just like, oh, well, I guess I did it. That's cool. And then you kind of feel
Mm.
like absolute shit because of that. You know, went through the trouble. Hey, Magenta. You gonna
Hey, Alex.
great?
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like a universal phenomenon, like feeling excited for something
Mm-hmm.
or a desire for something, and then you get it, and then it's just like, oh,
Oh yeah.
like it's soon, the novelty soon kind of wears off.
I agree with you. But I think that schizoids probably have that novelty wear off faster, and the what do you call it, the difference, like the disparity between like what they thought it could be and what they get reward wise is like much lower. um Not even like a bit lower or not as excited as they thought they would be. It's just like sometimes it's just like nothing. And I think it's the disparity that can be very, very unappealing, well, discouraging to future ventures, future activities and things. Like I've had situations where like just big stuff, right? Even big stuff, like small stuff, like something dumb, like a thing I wanted to accomplish or a challenge on something, and I worked to do it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, and then it's just like I do it, and I'm like, wow, why did I do any of this? And I guess one big one was, and it was awkward for me because like everyone around me was like whoopee whoop de doo, and including people I really cared about, like my wife, and is when I got my like master's in history, and I was just like, oh yeah, I went through all that trouble, did all the courses, got all the good grades, um, and then when I didn't even want to be there so badly. Like when I had to like get my get my degree and put on my little. I gave it to my daughter because I don't. She thought it was neat, so I gave it to her. But my little, cum laude, whatever, little medallion because I had decent grades or something, and um, I was just like wearing it, and I was wearing the hat, and I'm just like, stupid hat and the gowns, and I'm looking around at like all the people, and like everyone was just like, oh my god, so excited! Aren't you excited? Oh my god! Oh, finally, yeah! They got like their little, the little square hats, whatever they're called. I forget what they're called, but they had them all like bedazzled and all kinds of stuff. And like the professors are walking around telling some of the other graduate students, and oh, you did a good job and blah blah blah, and this is great. And I remember like one professor I was kind of okay with, like, went up to me, and like they said, are you excited? Like, this is great, this is a great day. And I was just like, I think I looked at him, and I was just like, I feel like all I did was uh get a piece of paper that's gonna tout my what I perceive to be my own mediocrity. And I remember the professor just laughed because they're like, oh, this guy again. Like, it's the guy that says the ooh, says the negative things. Oh. And I'm just like, yeah. And then they left. And I was just kind of like, did the, sat down, they did the whole speeches, and I just like, I don't want to be here. I don't, just give me the paper so I can go home. But then it was weird because like, you know, my wife and I think some family members are there, and like they're like so much more excited about this than me. and like I'm the one that did it.
Yeah, that happened to me when I was graduating too.
Yeah, it's just the weirdest thing, seeing all these people excited around you, seeing people in your life excited for you, and you're just like, the thing happened.
Mm.
Well, I mean, I think also for us, I mean, probably, we had to go through the hard work and everything. Like when the hard work was done is when we were like, woo,
I didn't even I think it was more like the prospect of thinking I was gonna like do something with it, like something that I thought was personally important. Like I was gonna like, I don't know, maybe I thought I was gonna like, write this or do this or research this thing, and oh, it was gonna be this and it was gonna be that, and then
yeah.
like the longer I stayed in school, the longer it just felt like I was kind of like slowly regretting. But it was like it felt like a sunken cost fallacy type situation. Like it was like really, it felt like a sunken cost, like a bad sunken cost fallacy. By the time I was graduating, I was like, wow. Oh, go ahead, Magenta. Were you saying something?
I mean, I agree that maybe for us it's kind of there's particularities, but I do sense like a general thing to it. Like I feel, like for example, if I do like a general like I think a lot of people probably feel like this. Like I look at like interviews with like, I don't know, some accomplished kind of like philosophy professor or like a doctor or someone who's like really achieved something, right?
I was going to say philosophy
like,
professor's not a good example because they're all depressed.
No, well, yeah, no, but like someone who you like look up to, who's sort of accomplished, and is also gets praise from other people, and other people are kind of excited and
yeah,
praise them and everything. I think that they seem like, I do sense like a kind of exacerbation, or like in them, like what, like like for them, they probably feel like they didn't do enough or accomplish enough, or maybe there was other things that they could explore. Because I guess a big part of life is like foreclosure, right? Like you foreclose other opportunities if you choose a path, right? Like in how you spend your time.
Yeah, just trying to think about that a little bit. I mean, yeah, there's definitely that, but I think like the foreclosure, I get it, I understand the idea, but I'm just thinking about like sometimes it feels like there was nothing being foreclosed because I thought this was the thing because everything else wasn't the thing, or everything else didn't feel or seem like the thing. And then the very thing that I thought was the thing was not the thing. And I didn't know where to turn. I just looked around and I'm like, okay, this wasn't the thing. Uh-oh. Oopsie. Like, I don't know what other paths I could have taken, especially at the time. Maybe I couldn't see them, especially due to, like, the issues and some of the...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's always retroactive, though. Like this idea of foreclosure, it's always like, you walk a path in life, and then you look behind you, and you're like, oh, I'm here now. Like I've traced these steps. I could have taken these other paths. Like you only like see it after the fact. I feel. I mean, maybe there's some trivial element where it's like, okay, there's like 3 things that I could study, and I want to like pick one, and I don't do the other 2. But that's like a really trivial thing.
What's funny is that for me, that's like one of actually like if I look back, that's actually one of my biggest regrets. Um, that like for me, I would say it's not trivial at all. It's actually quite distressing. Because like I didn't figure out what I actually wanted to like study until after. I didn't figure out why I studied history until I graduated,
Yeah.
and then I figured it out. And in the recent years, I figured it out even more. What is like my actual, as I develop my sense of self and stuff, like what is my calling? And one of the big, yeah, I just like I wish I had studied psychology. Not because like I think I would know like all super so much more about it if I didn't do it, because anybody can just study psychology. Um, as long as you put in the time and you read and you do what you need to. Um, but I don't have the piece of paper that gives me credibility in the world that we exist in. And sadly, it's just one of those things that you can't bypass very easily. Um, so then, I could have been the guy doing the research that I want people that are doing research to do. I could have been the guy actually doing it.
Yeah, but if you were in that position, hypothetically,
Mm-hmm.
would you do differently? Like, I mean, because of course you'd be a different person, right? Like you
To
wouldn't
some,
be you like
to
you
some
wouldn't be
degree,
you.
yeah. Like to some
But
degree.
then you might think, oh, like why did I do psychology? This is like a heck of a lot of like just studying, and there's so much like you know red
Oh.
tape. And am I making a difference to people's lives?
Mm-hmm.
And is all of this research just like I've like spent 20 years doing research and it's based
Mm-hmm.
on like the wrong foundations and it's all wrong?
Based.
Like, like someone else like comes along and just takes a hammer to it and is like
That's okay.
explains why your entire theory of the mind is
Yeah.
incorrect.
I think people that can't handle that stuff are babies. Because
If you did psychology, Hanks would have wanted to do history.
well, no, that's not true at all. Because
I'm just kidding.
oh no, but let me explain. It's not so much that like I've always been like, even when I was doing my history stuff, like I was just always like butting heads like left and right. I was always like basically like thinking about historical theory regarding everything every time I took a bunch of courses. And so that would cause me some like that would cause some feathers to ruffle, because I would put into question like a lot of methodology and stuff. And then so I think that I would have probably ended up doing the same, because I do that with everything within like psychology. And then I probably would have gone down that route, definitely, of like having the degree, maybe pursuing a PhD, and then like hating the institutions, hating what it is, like having the same like frustrations I still have now, regarding that stuff. But the difference would be that I would have a stupid piece of paper that would give me access to saying, doing, and attempting things that I do not have access to, or people that have access. That's the regret. It's not really like, oh, I really wish I was a professional psychologist. I would have been so much happier. It's like, no, no, I probably would have hated being a psychologist in with the red tape and all the bureaucratic bullshit and the health insurances and like all the bullshit, all the problems, things like the ICD and the DSM and all the conflict there. Like even like my own psychologists, like they're not happy about a lot of this stuff. Like it just like it puts a huge damper on their individual mission of like their what they perceive to be their equivalent of a what is that called, with doctors? It's do no harm, and What's that called? They're the oath, the thing, the
Hippocratic oath.
yeah, Hippocratic. Yeah, I couldn't remember the word. Thank you. Um, yeah, the Hippocratic oath type stuff, like where it's like, okay, well, like they feel like they're actively doing harm because they have to follow certain procedures that they disagree with, or they think they could help in certain ways, but they're barred not to, right? To attempt certain ways because it's not like approved or it's not this and it's not that, and that board of old guys that didn't say it's good because because sometimes because of the very reasons you mentioned, Magenta, which is, oh well, if we try these new things and they work, well then the old things that I have my name to my legacy will be negatively impacted. And it's like, oh god, that happens so much in academia. It's so horrible.
Yeah, I think with all of that as well, maybe there's a sense of, well, I think an outsider's perspective is insanely valuable, right? Like, I imagine for like a lot of therapists, a lot of them, well, like the vast bulk of them, they all seem to come out like very similar, like cookie cutter kind of psychotherapists. Where like, I mean, they're not fungible, obviously, because they're like individual, like human beings with their own worldview
Yeah, of course,
and everything.
of course.
But they're still taught a particular,
Yeah.
a particular theory of things, that's sort of prescribed that they have to take on board as part of like the training.
Yeah, this is how you this is how you put the fries in the bag, but more complicated. But the issue too is that like most people are not the kind of people that push back very much on that sort of authority, kind of institutional, like academic authority, right? They don't want to cause waves. They don't want to get in trouble. They don't want their career to be negatively impacted. They're like really concerned about like a lot of these things, over the actual field, over the actual like, thing, more like that comes like second, if not third. That's why I find it really interesting that like in my experience, the most profoundly interesting and engaging professors I ever had were all adjunct professors. They were all like part-time, like they're working part-time professorships or whatever at like 3 different colleges or universities, because
I like a lot of the adjuncts too.
And the adjuncts are like they're the kooky, they're the weirdos, they're the outcasts, they're the the ones that are really into the field. They're the ones that are more like dedicated. And then you talk to a lot of the
working in the field.
Yeah. And then like some of the worst professors I had were the tenured ones. Like they were just, and they weren't all old or anything. It's just like they were so stuck in like the paradigm as it existed.
Or didn't even care about what they're doing. They're just going through the motions. Just get they got a lot of kids to teach. Got a lot of kids to move. So
And they but they're like they crave or enjoy the status of being like an important person at that campus. Especially if you're talking about department heads. Oh God, department heads! Holy shit!
And some of those guys still believe that status like kind of matters. Like in today's world, I'm not even sure that.
Well, in the ivory tower, it matters. In their world,
I mean, it used to matter outside the ivory tower.
Yeah. Not so much
nowadays,
anymore.
I don't think it does, man.
Yeah. Unless you're like Neil deGrasse Tyson or something.
Right. Yeah.
Bill Nye the Science Guy, some stupid shit like that. But yeah. It's terrible. It's terrible. The people that actually could have meaningful impact in the field are usually the ones that are like not looked at all, or they're just not charismatic enough, or whatever, what have you. They're not engaged or aggressive or enough. No, proactive or what's a better word? I don't want to say opportunistic. They're just not like invested in like growing their career. Like they're invested in the field.
Sometimes they just want to make a career outside of academia too. They're just there as a side gig sort of thing. The thing I feel badly about in the adjunct community. I mean, a lot of the like history adjuncts and all those kind of guys,
Yeah.
they don't have anything else going on. So that's just kind of their hanging on or into the academia.
Well,
I feel bad for them. So
yeah. Well, I mean, you don't have to feel bad for all of them because some of them are like,
well, for sure,
they're actually unhappy that they have to teach at all because they just want to get back to their books or their research. Like the professors that are really invested in their field and really could care less about teaching or being at the school or having that job are my favorite ones. Like those are my favorite. Like those are the ones that like I want to talk to after class. And I would. And those are the ones that instead of me going up to them and having like further questions, instead of going like, oh well, I had to run. No, I gotta go to this meeting. Oh, I gotta do this. Right. They're the ones that have like you said, not much else going on, and they're like, and I'll ask questions, and they'll just sit there, and like you could see their eyes light up as they're talking about it, like they get excited that they have a student there that's like, hey, let's talk about your special interest in some cases. Yeah. And so then they're like, yeah, okay, yeah. Like I had one professor that like, being a Zoid, I was like, no thanks. But like, I had one professor that like, he literally like, we just went back and forth, really cool conversations. And he wanted like to have drinks with me. He was like, hey, we'll have a drink and let's go. I know this good bar kind of thing. And like,
yeah,
you know,
and
I was just like,
thing, yeah.
I was like, you know, I'm just like, I just kind of went around that. I was like, oh, just, you know, I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of work to, you know, and like, but you know, they tried like, I think like twice or something, but it was like, I wasn't looking for that. Like I wasn't, especially then, I wasn't like not looking for like some friend, right? I just wanted to engage with them because they were excited about the thing and I was excited about talking about it with them. I you know, so I didn't want to like go with them and do stuff and then like they'll tell me about their life and all these other things. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not that's where I should have given it a chance, right? Maybe it would have gone. Maybe they are a little, you know, neurodivergent weirdo and they would have like literally like gone to the bar with me and we would have just literally talked about history and historical theory for like 3 hours. And like never ask a single question about like, oh, so what do you do? Tell me about your past. What do you? Oh, blah 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 blah. Like, you know.
Did you ever see that there's like a film called The Layovers? I think.
The what?
It's like, I think it's called The Layovers.
The Layovers. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a Christmas film from like 4 years ago.
Okay.
Or so.
Comedy?
But it's no, not really comedy. It's more like basically there's like a professor and like or like a tutor and like some how do you say, like a well-off private kind of boarding school, right? He's kind of old, you know, he's kind of like a curmudgeon, like really stuck in his ways, you know, kind of like takes everything way too seriously.
Yeah.
Is really strict, and then like there's all of these kids who are like, you know, kind of full of energy and like, you know, asking loads of questions, and they're getting like, you know, don't ask this question and stuff, but they have to like stay over for Christmas because their family like or something, their family's like busy or they have family issues.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like about them trying to like come to like a shared understanding because they're kind of stuck with each other like through the holiday. But super interesting because you get to see like inside each character like both of their like perspectives, like both sides. It's like actually like the, you know, old
guard, new
curmudgeon
guard
of the tutor or professor. There's actually more than meets the eye, and like same with the students.
Oh, that sounds cool. I think I remember seeing a trailer or something 4 years ago, and at the time it didn't sound. It looked like some kind of like dramedy or something. And
yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have been a film that I would have watched, but I watched it with my ex. Like it was his film pick.
Yeah, and it ended up
So
being cool.
yeah, it was interesting.
I've had that happen. There's been a couple times where like my wife will be like, "Let's watch this movie. I want to watch it. You're watching it with me because I want to watch it." And I'm like,
Yeah.
I have to
So
do the okay, like, and then I'll end up like going like, oh, that was surprisingly interesting.
yeah, it sort of turns like it starts out as like a kind of like serious-ish
Hmm.
kind of Christmas film, but that ends in like a slice of life kind of
Hmm.
thing. So it's kind of it's a vibe.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's why that one movie, like the movie that I had an impact like that with, for sure. Like I just went in for like a popcorn flick. Like I thought I was going in for like a John Wick movie, and then I ended up like it ended up being so much more interesting and profound. And that was and it sucks because the movie it didn't get like it didn't very do very great in the box office. I think internationally it did okay, but that the Monkey Man one, I love that fucking movie. That movie's so good because it just has a lot of layers. I think I'm saying it right, right? Monkey Man. Yeah, Monkey Man. It's like a really violent like action film. It starts like it's just gonna be like it's gonna like a revenge story type thing, and it kind of is, but it's like really really complicated, and it like really integrates like a lot of Indian culture and like religious views, opposing religious views, politics, like Indian politics, that are still sometimes an issue regarding like state stuff being affected by things like gurus and shit like that. And so like yeah, it was a fucking solid movie. It had an interesting message. I think I could say the message without spoiling the movie, but it was kind of like violence is a tool that is unfortunate, but even even the side of, or whatever the moral, the ethical side must implement it, and when they do, they must do so without reservation, because that's what's going to happen in turn. And so it's like an interesting idea of like sometimes you can't talk it out. There's no talking it out. Like you could only talk it out for so long before okay, it's time. It's over. The talking.
Yeah.
You decided you didn't want to talk anymore, and that's it. Okay. And then,
Yeah.
but it's not like oh now we have to. No, it's like now you go balls out.
Yeah, I can kind of see that reflected in the in like Gaza or like Ukraine, like
Yeah, all
Yeah.
those things, all those types of things,
Yeah.
for sure. And even here domestically in the U.S. when with all that Luigi Mangione stuff and people's feelings and people getting like more and more aggressive and hostile toward like celebrities, politicians, rich people. Like they're getting just like more and more resentful. And so in the 90s and early 2000s, like a lot of celebrities were still like revered, right? And then like but now like they're becoming almost like people that like they just kind of almost like sometimes irrationally like hate. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. Being a celebrity today is not what it used to be cut out to be, as far as like how much people like you. Because like I think partially it's due to obviously the internet and social media, because some of these people are incredibly let's just say they have some traits and they can't help themselves, but instead of like before it's just you're just in the movie and then occasionally you get an interview, but now they can just say everything they feel, and when they do, you start seeing like the illusion of this like person you can put on a pedestal like disappears very quickly.
Yeah.
But they do it to themselves, right? Like they'll just kind of show their hand, and then like everyone like then they're confused as to like what's happening. Like, wait, I'm a celebrity. This can't happen. Yeah, it can. It's not the early 2000s, 90s, and 80s anymore. Like after 2017, oof, and then after post COVID, especially, COVID really taught everyone a lot about these people.
It's almost like the separation between audience and star is sort of dissolved. You know, like you can see how the sausage is made if you want to. You know.
Yeah, and the sausage
And it's
fucking
kind of ugly.
yeah, the sausage is stinky and old, and yeah, and so like what was it the other day? I was watching. Speaking of like events like that, it was pretty amusing. Though, you know, I'll give it some good faith. No one learned shit from COVID. Disagree. I disagree in the sense that like, yeah, nothing immediate, right? Like, were people like actually actively learning things? Not really. No, I'll agree with that. But they definitely learned a lot about these people that get put on pedestals, because a lot of them were doing they were so bored. They were at home, they couldn't do any work, they weren't out and about, they were like socially desperate. Sometimes, like, you know, if they're kind of more on the narky side of things, like they weren't getting the attention, the praise, the you know, the stuff they needed to feel like wanted. And so then you know, they started doing really cringy, desperate shit all over the internet to get attention. And like, yeah, it was like, oh god, who are these fucking lolcows of people that like are just so fucking desperate for any attention? Like they don't have anything else going on in their life, that when they're not acting and being a celebrity, like they just have nothing. Like, go do something else. Like, why are you on the internet trying to get my attention? It's so weird. And then they would really be bad at it, because then you would have like, you know, influencers or whatever the people like, and those people would actually like, people would find them interesting and fun to listen to. And then you'd have these celebrities trying their hat at it, and they would just like, it would be terrible. And they're like, wait, are these people like as talented as we thought they were? Like, what is this? And so that started like really impacting that stuff. Only thing legit good came out of 2020 were the One Great Work Network and Active Research Archive, and basically not shit else. Well, that's your opinion. By the way, but yeah, I mean, those are interesting, but I disagree. On a more meta level, like there's a lot of stuff that I think a lot of people overlooked happened. They're still naive as sheep about most things, still falling for the same old shell game. I don't know how closely you follow it, Don. I know you're old school like me. I don't remember if you're older, but yeah, that's starting not to be so much the case. Only because, like, but now it's going in a weird pendulum swing. Now people are becoming so distrusting of institutions and rich people and celebrities and stuff online that like they're it's too much. Like they just start assuming like all this, like they start really eating up all these like negative conspiracies about all these people. So instead of just seeing them as like, a lot of them just pathetic people that like need you to survive, they start like, you know, coming up with all these like elaborate things that are like
It's almost like,
yeah.
Sorry.
No,
It's like almost like there's nothing really containing the or hiding all of like the neuroses. You know, like when I say like, you know, you can see how the sausage is made. It's like you can see through the media. Obviously, it's not like first person account, right? Mm-hmm. You can see how. I mean, basically, I have a bit of sympathy for like people who are in this celebrity culture, I mean, not all, because I think, you know, there's also like, okay, you clearly like acted in a way that's just like I don't really have any sympathy for like Kanye West and like the tweets he's posting, for example. Like I think he's just a dickhead there, but but for example, reality television, like reality TV, like that's kind of opened my eyes to that, to the kind of horror that
Oh yeah.
contestants kind of put through, for example,
Or
like
even worse, like people
there's
like
no fake.
those like two girls, those two women, the I think 600-pound sisters or something, and like you know, a lot of those shows where it's like, or like, you know, a lot of these kind of like teen mom type shows and stuff, like it's just, you know, that follow like regular people like in their lives, and they're just kind of like a freak show for the TV. um it's weird because like what always happens, right? They'll have this certain life, and of course a lot of it's kind of like what's the word, like edited, and you know, it's kind of like, it's a word, like a false kind of, it's like a false reality, but most people already know that. But then like out of nowhere you'll hear that, like, you know, that lady that was famous for this reality show, like, oh, she like, you know, she's on the run, or like she OD'd, or like, and it's like you never saw any of that like on the show, or any of that stuff. Or they get like their egos get inflated because they're on TV, but they're still literally like they're being put on display all half the time, like as a freak show, but that they start like their egos inflate because like people recognize them and say things to them, and then like when they lose that show, and that show is over and nobody cares about them anymore, because like, okay, well, the show's over, who cares? Like, we know you're not talented at anything else, we just wanted to see your life and how weird it was. Manufactured, thank you, Khalil. And so then they try like, oh well, they try to be in commercials, or they try to get into other avenues of like Hollywood, and nobody wants them, obviously. And so then like that creates like its own horrible thing. And so like a lot of these like people that were celebrities because of a reality show, like if you go look them up now, they have like criminal records, or like they just like lost all the money, and they're just like divorced, and all this bad shit's happening to them after like the show ended. It's crazy.
Yeah, because they were there for, they were taken advantage of, like all of their like neuroses, you know, desires, personality traits, all of that's
sensationalized,
you know,
and
the input to a product, you know, and then after it's made, then, you know, after the sausage is made, then they're just kind of discarded, you know.
you already ate it. They ate it already, and now they're ready to shit.
Yeah.
So, and then the shit comes out, and nobody wants the shit. So, but
I mean, I'd go further though and say that, like,
okay,
I think everyone, like all of our neuroses and personality traits are, well, I mean, we're sort of placed in a position where we have to exploit ourselves to a degree because of the, you know, but that's, but yeah, I think there's like a symbiotic relationship between the individual and one's environment, right? It's like
sometimes parasitic as well.
Yeah. So I do have sympathy in that regard. I think there's like a bit of a universal thing there that I can kind of feel, where it's like, you know, even just down to like the fucking workplace environment that I'm sure like most people can relate to, you know, like the whole like psychology of that is really fucked.
Yeah, like one thing that I always get bothered with, some like what I was saying in the shows, is it's essentially it's just exploiting mental illness many times, like for money.
That's agreed.
Like, it really is. It's just like there's these people, like I'll see them in these reality shows, and I'm like, these people like they do not need to be on a TV show. This is not going to end well. And then what's kind of worse still now is that I know a lot of people like to listen to me don't give a shit about this topic necessarily, but a lot of now, besides there being an industry of like reality show with a bunch of like, you know, very disturbed, mentally ill people that aren't getting the help they need and just being put in front of a camera, because if they got help, or they get help in the show, but it's always like this kind of really superficial help. And then on top of that, they record the sessions for the show sometimes. It's like crazy. But there's podcasts that are really popular and channels, right, that are dedicated to that particular reality show. And so those people like make money talking about the thing, right? And then that gets more people more invested in the thing and more invested in the personal life of that person. And then it turns into like the entertainment is the behind the scenes terribleness of that person's life. So it stops even just being the show that is already kind of exploitative, but it starts being like, oh, let's see past the show and let's really look into their life and what they post and talk about it. Isn't it crazy? And then it's like, that's grim. That's grim. And then what's crazy is then there's just like, there's the people that are like obsessed with the dirty underbelly of it. And then there's the people that are obsessed with the manufactured stuff, right? And they fight each other on the internet. It's crazy. And the people that love the show and love the product that's being put out, they'll like at the time they'll like really support and really bolster the person up, right? And then if they have haters, which are the people that come out and they're just obsessed with like trying to like show people like, oh, look at this person, it's so gross, oh, look, this is how they really are, oh, why are they on TV, and you know, they turn it into like a, oh, look at this, and those people then feel like they're the people that are in the shows feel like, oh, I'm being attacked by these are haters that are attacking me, and then they get defended by the people that are temporarily their friends until, you know, the next new thing comes out, and they get defended, and so they think, oh, we have look, people think I'm right, people think I'm good, and they're bad, and so then all that gets mixed up, and then so then people that are like legitimately concerned and say like, hey, like, you should really like think about this, or this is a serious problem, they'll get mixed up with the haters. And then you have the people that love the show and be like, leave her alone, she doesn't have mental health problems that she needs to look at, she's great, she's a queen, he's a king. It's all grim. The Adventures of Grim and Mandy. I remember that show. But yeah, it's interesting.
I think it's no wonder that there's more kind of cluster A people, you know, schizoids. More of us feels like it feels there's a lot of people like undiagnosed, and I think, you know, I think that's probably part of the reason is that there's like no kind of firewall between all of this like neurotic, psychological kind of, I mean, you could say transference, I mean, that's like a fucking technical term, right? But
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm talking more about like the people on the shows themselves being rather ill. I don't. Yeah, because I think if you put a bunch of like, what's your favorite phrase? Where there's mental wellness, people with mental wellness. If you put them in front of the camera, on some of these shows, like nobody would tune in. It would be boring. It would just be like, oh, look at my life and it's good and I'm making good choices and there's no drama, and like it'll just like people just won't watch it. That won't make any money. That'd be boring. So crazy.
People are addicted to drama. I think it's insane.
I gotta cut this stream down, but one thing I did want to bring up regarding this really quick is I'm looking at the chat. Looks like they're kind of having a conversation on their own, so I'm not gonna. Yeah, it looks like you guys are talking. Humanity is ill in many ways, Trudy. But no, it's I was watching. You know that plane that crashed recently. Not the big one. There was like the other one in Philly, I think it was. Because there was the big one, in DC, and then there was another one in Philly. But the problem with this is that it's like Shark Week type deal. So there's like, I don't know, I think it's like 200, 300 plane crashes that are like fatal each year, like in the US alone. And so like, it's Shark Week. So now it's like everyone's reporting every plane crash. And so then people are like, why are there all these plane crashes? And it's like, yeah, the first one, the airline, that one's a big deal because that's 16 years since a passenger airliner like got blown up or something bad like that happened. Like it's been a long, long time, and that doesn't happen. There's a lot of measures involved, but people just crashing planes, that's pretty, like personal planes especially, that's pretty common. It's pretty normal. When one is happening, at least one a day is happening almost. But
yeah,
so it becomes that Shark Week thing where like, oh, there's so much. Look at all these. Look, like every shark attack ever gets talked about, and then it's like, oh my God, don't go in the water. There's sharks. It's like, okay, like how I don't know. Humans are so weird. Like being afraid of flying on a plane but driving a car. It's so strange to me.
yeah, it's a problem with assessing risk, right? It's like,
yeah, it's just it's goofy. It's really goofy. Like we're literally putting our lives on the line every time we get in a car, far more than any airplane. But oh yeah.
Assessing risk
go ahead. Yeah, what happened?
Assessing risk is hard. There's actually an interesting board game around this.
Oh, I didn't know that. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's not risk, but
no, but it's like accident or death themed. So it's like kind of like
cool.
the thing is like you get like basically like top trumps cards kind of thing.
Oh,
or like tokens. And it'll be like, falling out of bed, swallowing, choking on a peanut.
Yeah.
Just some random thing like this, and then you have to like guess like how many.
Which one is like the biggest threat?
People have died.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which one's like the biggest?
Yeah, choking on food is every time you eat food, you risk choking. And you know how many people die of choking each year? Oh, a lot. A lot of people die of choking. A lot more than airplanes crashing. 5,000 years of psychological trauma tends to do. Oh, they're talking their thing. Okay, so my chat's funny. Like they'll just start having full-on conversations in chat that like have nothing to do with what I'm saying. But that's like pretty awesome actually in its own way. But no, the thing I actually wanted to say real quick about the plane crash was I had posted I think about this on the server, but I just get disgusted with how people behave when it comes to disasters and tragedy. Because like I watched like I don't know, it was like 2 or 3 videos, people, because there was like people recording what happened in the aftermath like on their phones, right? And like it's just so crazy. Like they're all running around. Like there's like you see the footage of the fire and the explosion, and like you see the explosion and the fire or whatever, and there's people running around outside and there's like flames everywhere, and like instead of like just a camera recording people reacting to it, which even the reactions are like wild, the camera just captures a bunch of other people holding cameras, like holding their phones, and so there's different people on the screen like holding a phone, and all of them are saying like the same things. And all of them are saying, "Wow, what happened? Oh my God, it's crazy. Oh, yeah, it was an airplane. I saw it. It was an airplane. Oh my God, was it an airplane? Yeah, it was an airplane." Like, another person's like, "Oh, did you see that? Wow." It's like it's so fucking weird, and they're all just like, and it's like it feels like somebody else said it, but it feels like everyone there is like trying to be like, "Look what happened to me. This happened to me. This happened to me. Look, I'm the victim of this thing that happened. That's scary. Look at me. Look at me." It's like it becomes like the literal thing, the ball of flame, and it's like it's irrelevant compared to like how I witnessed it. Look at me. I'm here. I saw it. I got scared. Fucking weird, man. And then on top of that, like, it's just disgusting because, like, I see people, like, instead of, like, calling 911, they're recording. Because of that whole mentality of, like, well, somebody will call, right? Somebody will call 911. Somebody will. And then you have police officers, I think, that show up and they're like, get back. And there's people just like running with their, I want to see, is there some dead bodies? Fucking crazy. And then, I think when we were having that conversation, you ever think they were hoping to monetize? Yeah, for sure. Like, oh, if I get the dead bodies, maybe I could. Or they just want to be like, oh, look, I went viral. I have pictures of like a severed head that flew out of the plane. Or something. Just fucking insane. But no, what's crazy is like we don't know the gravity of the situation. We don't know what's happening. Number one, like, okay, the people in the plane probably like it's over, right? GG. Like, but it crashed in the middle of like a street. There's probably like people that got hurt or they're all disoriented or like, and like that's not the main priority. At all. Like, imagine you're like the plane pops and you're like nearby and that shit, the flaming wreckage just like hits the street near you and then you're just like boom, and like you fucking fall to the ground. Maybe you got some debris like kind of like hurt you or something, and you're just sitting there on the floor like, oh, what the fuck. And then you look up and all you see is like people running like near you with their phones out or putting their phone on you, like, crazy, man. And but I think another person had brought up like, oh yeah, but you know what never gets recorded are like the heroes, right? And I'm like, yeah, because the heroes aren't busy recording, they're doing something. It's like, yeah, that's great. Like, how about we have a culture where most people do something, not most people are not heroes. Yeah, Clark Kent with his camera out. Yeah, imagine Superman rolling up. Doomsday's attacking the planet. He's like, Clark, why aren't you... Clark, fight him! Like, I mean, Clark. Superman, fight him! And Superman's just like, no, hold on, I'm gonna go viral. Oh, shit. It's crazy. I wish I could do something about it. It's fucking nuts.
I think it sort of speaks to, like, a little bit to, like, like a general kind of like ignorance, like I mean, I give you an example, like that kind of shocked me. It was like related to the whole tariff situation. I think it was on like probably on Fox or like MSNBC. I don't know, like one of these.
Yeah,
things.
one of those.
Like
one of those things.
One of the show hosts.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, and it was really in relation to coffee, and she was just like, oh well, we could just tax them and they can grow their coffee here, like it's like, and it's just like, you like out of your mind, like, like the US just like, there's like a fraction of coffee grown in like Hawaii and Puerto Rico, but like the rest doesn't have like stable enough conditions in which to like grow the coffee.
Yeah.
but it's just this like general kind of like, you know, and it's like you have to be like so like wired into the system to not like see the like broader perspective, whether like you're just like, you know, like this news host, like probably just like, you know, have your comfy job and you're like a consumer or whatever.
Yeah.
Or you're like so, your mind is like so sucked into like social media, you know, like in the case
Well,
of
they
like,
huff their own farts. They huff their own farts and get high.
yeah.
Like they're just like literally like they bought into their lies. They bought into their own bullshit. So much so that they stopped realizing it was bullshit.
Mm.
Like they bought in wholesale, especially when that's all you're surrounded by. And then you legitimately think you're in the know when you know nothing. Wild. I'm a news anchor, man. Of course I would know what's going on, really. All my credible people that I'm around also agree this is how it happened and what matters. So, like, how many of them are cynical and how many of them are like legit, like they like bought in. They don't even realize. They think they're the good. They're like the protagonist in their own mind. They're the protag syndrome. I hate protag syndrome. Shit's the worst. Main protagonist syndrome is the fucking cancerous shit. Gross. I think maybe a lot of schizoids like don't like, maybe they're resistant to main protagonists because they're like, I'm not even in the show. I'm not the protagonist. I don't even want to be in the show. Like, I don't even want to be a psych. I don't even want to be an extra. Can I? I don't want to be an extra in this. Like, much less the protagonist. Anyway, guys. All right. Thanks a lot for showing up. Thank you, as usual, to Withers, Magenta, for showing up and talking. I noticed that when people show up and talk with me, it tends to get more traction because there's other voices besides my stupid droning on and on. And except for Withers, when Withers is here, the numbers go down.
Numbers always go down.
Magenta shows up, numbers go up. Withers comes in, numbers go down.
Probably just because her voice is sexier.
They're just too. Oh, that's all it is. That's all it is. Withers, you silly person. Nah, I'm kidding. That doesn't actually happen. You're not. The numbers don't go down. I'm kidding, Withers. You know I like to give you shit, but it's funny. It's funny to say. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. And if you want to support me and support what I do, which is like, you know, some of the video stuff, there's another one I'm trying to set up. It's a pain in the ass. Yeah, finding people that are actually interested is tough. But if you like the streams or anything else I do, or the server or whatever, and you want to support my thing that I care about and myself, because life's rough, please support me on Patreon. But if you want to do better, use Coffee, because Coffee actually doesn't, they're not as greedy. Patreon's greedy. They take like too big a chunk. Coffee takes like almost nothing. It's spelled like Ko-Fi, but it's like coffee. I have the link in the, yeah. So that goes like almost all entirely to me. I think maybe all. So that's a better one, or PayPal. But Patreon works too because it's easier. People just like it because it's like easier. So, but if you could switch over to Coffee, that's probably better. Honestly, more bang for your buck. Well, I'll get more bang for your buck. All right, as usual. When day is dark, always remember, happy day.